It's supposed to be playing. Yeah, I see your question. I need to stop the music. I was listening to listen. I was out here listening to some dude named DJ Ackright, and he got the New Orleans bounce version of "Excuse Me, Angry Smurf." Dang, you need a hug? You was excited about the the free. Well, it ain't free, but the non. Well, I ain't gonna get sued for playing that music. You excited about the music? But what I was saying was, I was a little distracted because I was listening to somebody named DJ Ackright, and he has. I was listening to a New Orleans bounce version of "No One in the World," that Anita Baker song, which is wild. So, so glad to have you here. I see you tagged your people. She need to come on and join. I don't even know if I'm talking about anything too major that she can relate to today, but she need to get on this train. I need to move my keyboard. But like I was saying, so happy to have you here. I'm so glad to be here. It's been a good week. Um, yeah, I don't know why. What do you mean? What's different? Oh, the New Orleans bounce version of no one in the world. Well, it's two people, well, two cultures, however you want to say it, that I know they will take a song and make their version of it, and every time they don't know three people, and every time they do it, I love it. So New Orleans, they gonna turn anything into a bounce song, and I love it. So that's why I was in there grooving to Anita Baker's version of a bounce song. DC, they gonna turn anything into a go-go song. And them islanders, Jamaicans, they gonna turn anything into a reggae song. I mean, one of my favorite jokes, side note, one of my favorite jokes this comedian said was talking about reggae. And he said he was listening to this song and it was like, this one here is an original. Dodging through the snow. And dude started singing Jingle Bells. That's where it was the original reggae song. So it's funny. I do love Go Go. And it's wild because when I fell in love with Go Go in college. And when I first went to college, I was like, what is this? It reminded me of being in New York. And if you ever in the city in New York, they always got somebody out there beating on plaster buckets. So that's what go-go sounded like to me, so I ain't get it. And then I went to college and I went to my first go-go party and I saw how it make the people move. I was in love ever since then. So hey, I'm a go-go fan too, so I love it then. Going to my first go-go concerts, and go-go is a place I like. It's just going to a go-go party or go-go concert. You better be ready to dance. That's what you're gonna do. It's still I appreciate that because it's still old school. That's one party where everybody's still gonna cut a rug. So I'm jibber jabbing about a couple of things today. But it's funny. I want to talk to y'all about something that's interesting that happened to me today too. So I have a friend. I probably done known. Oh man, I done lost track on how long I've known her. But she has an interesting story. You know what I mean? So she recently returned back to Charlotte. Um, in a very I as a matter of fact I'll be watching what is it, front porch Sundays. Yeah, so that's how you know I like go go. Exactly. So I'll be watching that, and that's one of the few things that I do watch. But yeah, so yeah, and they had everybody on there. Everybody on there. Um, I think I forgot what I was getting ready to say. But anyway, so I know she's trying to get her feet back under, trying to get stable and stuff again. But I started recently seeing her post one of those scam posts when people start saying they can help you get a grant to pay your rent and all that stuff, and then or they can help you get a grant, and then they had those stock photos of somebody's hands with some keys, or somebody at which looks like a check cashing place with stacks of money. The selling the illusion. And I was like, man, I hope she ain't really trying out there doing that. And then the next thing I was like, well, I hope she don't reach out to me about that because I ain't with it. So today she reached out to me and said she wanted to put me on to this grant. And I said, I do grants for a living, federal, state, and local. She just blocked me. I ain't even get no response. I just got blocked. I was like, I can't even believe you even came to me with that idea. Like, man, come on, man. I know how grants work, and they don't work like that. And you not finna get them off some random person on Facebook. Don't fall for that. That is not Sierra. So glad to have you here, and I need to see you because I can't even tell you the last time I've seen you. So we're gonna have to work something out. It's been years. So I look forward to seeing you again. So I'm putting the pressure on you. But that's what that's one of the funny things that I want to talk to y'all about today. But now we're just gonna get into it like we do. So I guess one thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about last week that I didn't really get to, because I talked about so many things, was a space that I'm in right now that I think is beneficial to share with everyone as far as the healing process. I'm in a space of revisiting triggers, and I'm taking some time to be able to recognize my triggers in the context of the type of triggers or situations or emotions that trigger me to seek out vices. And it's various vices, you know what I mean? And I think of vices in various ways. So we'll talk about that. So for me, like I started thinking about certain vices. One was specific, like what type of emotions or what type of headspace am I in where I feel the need for retail therapy. I'm like, I need to buy something today. And what pleasure or what type of gratification am I receiving from experiencing retail therapy? And because for me to seek that, and even though a lot of times we may not even think of shopping, and it's not like I'm a super shopper, but trust and believe, I got my addictions, and one of them rides a horse. So I got a ton of polos. I don't know. And I got a bunch of glasses, and I got a bunch of cologne and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A bunch of shoes, sports coats, ties, Sherry. So glad to have you back. Yeah, later on, I'm gonna talk to everybody about what we're gonna do with the book club because we had a lot of good suggestions. And now, you know what I mean? I think, yeah, we'll talk about it later. But thinking about the triggers or what type of emotions am I dealing with? Okay, right. So you understand. Okay. So one of the things I want to say that the reason why I say advice, because initially I was going to say what triggers my addictions, right? And I guess it is somewhat of an addiction, but I think more in this case, it's more of a vice because of, I guess these vices could have the same negative attributes, but I think about addictions come with a lot of negative experiences and negative ideas, and that just could be the things that I apply to addictions. But I guess if you do it repeatedly over time, no matter how gently you may want to say it or sugarcoat it, a vice can definitely be an addiction. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I guess we'll just vices and addictions. We'll put a little caveat on that. But trying to figure out what's the emotional space that I'm in that triggers that need. And then another vice that I have is sugar. What is the emotional space that I am in where I like, yo, I need a piece of chocolate or I need some sugar because, and this is funny, so I guess you're probably right because sugar definitely does have addictive qualities. You know what I mean? So, and it definitely does have um, effects that can mimic drugs, which is wild. Chocolate does too. The effects that it has on the dopamine and stuff like that. And sometimes you just specifically crave chocolate. But really trying to take time to figure out what space am I in that has me crave this chocolate or sugar, whatever it may be. And it's funny because one of the easiest ways that I was able to mask or guise my sugar vice was I just learned how to bake. You know what I mean? And you share with other people, you bake a bunch of stuff. And then when you a baker, your sugar vice don't look so bad. But if I was sitting in here just always eating sugar, all my teeth falling out, all that stuff, then my sugar vice would look very different. So I'm a functional sugar addict. And then I also had to take a little time to think about what type of emotional space am I in that wants me to crave a drink. And that's even in alone or in public situations, whether I'm with friends or in situations like galas or stuff like that. Because I go to trainings, I go to events. Plus, trust and believe, most of these, well, I ain't gonna say most of these, but a lot of these nonprofits, when they do their annual fundraiser, alcohol is involved. You know what I mean? But the thing is, you don't always have to drink. But in those environments, it does create a certain energy, a certain emotion, a certain vibe that may make you feel as though you need to have a drink. You know what I mean? And I can actually, matter of fact, for that one, I can actually have an answer to because in this situation, one of the things you want to do in business and leadership is you want to have an air of trustworthiness. And sometimes you just have to do some things that make you seem normal. So when I first started working with in my field with children and families and going to events, I would never drink. And I used to find it so amazing how some people would go to these events and I mean, drink too much. But I would never drink. But as I moved up the leadership ladder or whatever, the ladder or whatever you want to call it, I did see that once you get to a certain level, if you just not a person that I just don't drink, it does paint a certain picture of I don't know about you. And I guess it's like this dynamic where everybody just kind of wants to have a little bit of dirt or you know what I mean? They want to seem like you're a normal person. So that need to not feel like I'm standing out is one that I could say when I crave the vice, a trigger for me for the vice of alcohol. Um, Weakness to drinking when you really don't need to drink. Um, yeah. So, and I think. Okay, so let me also put in the caveat of this: we're not speaking in terms of alcoholism as well either. So it's not like you can't function without a drink. We're speaking in terms of normal drinking to, you know what I mean? Where you go to the doctor and the doctor still won't be like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? So the context of that is still in normal drinking, not in the context of alcoholism, right? So as I take time to ask myself these questions, which are questions you can ask yourself, after I get to a certain point, you can't just keep identifying the issues. So I start identifying the issues. I got to get to the whys. And that starts with, what feelings am I trying to avoid? You know what I mean? Whether it's a sense of loneliness, which it winds up happening. And it's wild because that loneliness feeling that a lot of people try to avoid sometimes can seem just like boredom. So we may not recognize that that's the feeling, but pay attention to your actions or the things that you do when you are bored. Because if your boredom makes you crave one of these vices, maybe it's not the boredom that you're trying to avoid. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then after I take time to think about what feelings am I trying to avoid, I have to take it to the next step and then think about what new ways can I address these feelings. Because the thing about it is, the feelings that you feel, the emotions, the situations, the experiences that you have that trigger your need for these vices are going to happen to you for the rest of your life. And you will have to develop skill sets and new skills to address these things, because your old skills won't always work. And in this space right now, since we're all in this boat of trying to be the best version of ourselves, we do have to take time and think about some of these tougher things on why we react and behave the way we do. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about how we respond to our triggers towards others, but now we want to talk about how we respond to our triggers towards self. You know what? I hope you're not streaming, because I swear I paid for the good. I hope you're not freezing. But I don't know, my internet been acting crazy. I have Spectrum, and I try to make sure when I do these shows I'm not on Wi-Fi or anything, so I have it plugged in, and I got the speeds that you need. I pay for they they good speed. Okay, so maybe it's me. Lo siento. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm glad I had pants on this time. Okay, so hopefully that helps. If not, lo siento. We gonna make it do what it do, and you know, I apologize. Maybe it's I'm running, what's the name? I have, what's that, Instagram running in the background, so maybe it's doing something in my, what's the name, on my computer. But we're gonna move on. So yeah, so the last thing I was thinking about, what are the new ways that I can try to address it? My responses to myself when I'm triggered by the emotions I feel. Um, so one of the things that you do got to think about is, um, if you celebrate the same way you cope, you definitely need to change one of them. And I'm one of those people I'm in the same position where I celebrate the same way I cope. If I'm sad at a certain point, I'm like, let me go buy me a shirt. If I feel like things going good and it's a beautiful day, I need a shirt. You know what I mean? So do got to take time to figure out new vices or new ways that not necessarily is advice or a healthier vice, a healthier response to these feelings that I'm trying to avoid. And just being, transparent with you, it is something that I still have to take a little time to process. And that's, something that I want you all to be comfortable with within yourself. When you start asking these questions, the answers don't always come so immediately. Lo siento. So let me know if it's still freezing because I closed Instagram. So hopefully that helps. Doo-doo-doo. Anyway. So something else that's been going on a little crazy for me lately is my dreams have been on fire. And it's funny because one time somebody told me, and I tell other people this too, that when you hadn't been dreaming for a little bit, um put a cup of water under your bed. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Put a cup of water on your bed, and it's supposed to help your dreams become a little clearer, a little more fluid. But as of lately, I put that cup of water on my bed for a week and didn't have one dream. So I mean, I just put it up, and once I put it up, man, my dreams have been on fire. But I had one specific dream that really got me stuck in a contemplative measure. You know what I mean? So I am one of those people that do believe that dreams are a lot of times our subconscious mind trying to tell us things. You know what I mean? Whether they're prophetic, whether they take you to spaces in the past, whether they make sense or don't make sense. I do take time to look up the elements in my dreams, whether it be colors, whether it be faces, people, places, all types of things, and to the point where I studied it enough where um I can gauge a little bit of what's going on in a dream for myself. So the other night, I had a dream that I was sitting on a bed and I had a woman beside me, or it was feminine energy beside me, and but I just never looked at it. And I remember sitting on the bed looking out my bedroom door, and it was a cat in my place, and I don't have a pet. As a matter of fact, I had a neighbor that tried to play my face. Was like, "You don't have a pet or nothing?" Because I'm singing. I'm singing. She's like, "You don't have a pet or anything? I don't need no pet." So when I had a cat in there was ironic. I have been talking a lot about getting a cat. So I remember thinking in my dream, "Oh wow, I got a cat now." But I remember seeing the cat trying to get out the of my place, of my apartment. And then all of a sudden the cat started acting like he wasn't trying to get out the apartment and started walking back towards me. And as it got to my bed, it turned into a possum with the biggest mouth ever. Ever. And all I could think about was punching that possum in the mouth. But I didn't, which was interesting. So then I started trying to analyze the dream. So what does a house where you live symbolize in the dream? Um, so a lot of times when they tell you you dream that you are in a house or your car is a lot of place too. That represents either your sexuality or your heart, your internal being. So when you're generally in those places, that's where you are. So I'm in my place, so I figure I'm in my heart, my internal being, wherever I'm at. But the ironic thing, it was my apartment when I was in Milwaukee, and that was years ago. when I was at the university and I stayed on campus. I remember them concrete floors. Jesus Christ! If you ever thinking about getting a house, I don't care how pretty concrete floors. Oh my God, you made me laugh. So, you ever think about getting concrete floors in your place? Don't do it. But someone says if you ever since I told them about cats eat their owners' faces, they've been scared of cats. I also told you that cats clear energy, and you don't feel better about that, right? That's crazy. So I was watching this video of this EMT talking. It probably was on TikTok or something like that. But I was watching this video and he was talking about when they go to a welfare check and the person is no longer with us and they wind up having a pet. He said there's a difference between cats and dogs. He said when the person is no longer with us and they have a dog, the dog will be in there starving and just struggling with his struggling with his owner. You know what I mean? Just about to unalive itself. And then 1 second, I'll tell you what I do. But then cats, when they go in there and they got a cat, they say the cats always eat the owners. And they start with the nose. They say the cats always eat the nose first. But the cats being there looking healthy and well fed because, excuse me, that's my water. They eat the owner. What I do professionally is I am a trained Reiki specialist. So simply put, that is the art of healing through laying hands. And I help people with that process. I have worked with children and families for longer than I care in therapeutic settings, in homes, in schools, in any place that you can. I have, someone say cats are sneaky. I deal with grants, whether they're state, federal, or local grants. And I have ran organizations from as an executive director and things of that. So during my daytime, when I'm not on live, I deal with grants. And when I'm on live, I deal with healing. So I've worked my way up the ladder from working with doing therapy with people directly in their homes, doing therapy with children with reactive attachment disorder, doing therapy with adults, then moving on to programs for children and families, ensuring that communities of poverty have the opportunity to still have resources and specifically resources to educate their children. So that's what I do, my profession. But I don't do much of that now. Like now, I just help other people. As a matter of fact, right now, totally on live and in my profession, though, all I really do is help people be the best that they can be, whether it be business or personally. So, great question. If you're new here, you really don't know what I do, and you might be a little curious. If you ask me, am I trying to heal myself or others, what will you answer me? I'm not sure if I asked you that or if you asked me that. So you want me to say if you ask me, are you trying to heal? I'm a little confused. So try to ask that question again. I'll make sure I try to answer it for you. All right. Um so after I was having that dream, So you're asking me, am I trying to heal myself and others? If you are asking me, yes. So the main thing about this is an opportunity for us to create a space for healing and safe communication. And generally, what I do is I put my healing on Front Street and I invite others to share theirs. And through community, through sharing, vulnerability, and safe communication, we heal ourselves and each other. Great question. I'm glad you asked that. So, a lot of times it may seem like I'm just talking and telling stories, but the talking and telling stories are what connects the people, what they can relate to, what's vulnerable. Sometimes we just laugh and we tell jokes. Sometimes it's heavy. Sometimes you actually will have people on this live who are having their energy read. So I keep my pendulums here. I do have tools that help me read energy. So think of it as of working with energy. And ironically, my undergrad degree is in biology. And in science, there are very few laws. Most of the stuff is theories. And theories are not always true. Laws are. And one law that is always true is the laws of thermodynamics are always true. But the one that I always relate to and I try to use and have everybody else understand is energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. So I can transfer energy to you, whether it be actual energy or the emotional energy or the traumatic energy or the joyful energy or the surprising energy. Energy takes on shapes and we can shape and manipulate the energy around us. So I help people to recognize their power and I empower them to trust themselves. Great questions. Glad you asked. Um, so, so then I had to ask myself, why is this dream taking place in Milwaukee? And Milwaukee is a very interesting place for me. So I don't know if everyone can see these questions on the screen, but they should be showing up. Just generally, the Facebook comments don't show up on the screen, so it doesn't look like people are watching, but Facebook is always watching. So people want motivation to be accepted as whom they are, but I see others want to steal others' personality and give it to the person they want. So that question has complex layers, and I will try my best to answer this as honest as possible. But I'm going to have to take it into sections. So people want to be motivated to be accepted as who they are. That first part right there is something that we in this on these lives and in this group in this healing boat that we are in are learning. Some people want to be motivated. And then we also learn sometimes this idea of being accepted who we are doesn't allow us to live in our greatest design, if that makes sense. So, what if I want people to accept me as who I am, and who I am is meant to be greater than I think, right? And that's something that we've talked about the last couple of weeks on how people normalize themselves and who they are. But sometimes people will see greater in us than we see in ourselves, which is funny that this even comes up now because the end of the show was going to be an example of when someone saw greater in in me that I'm just now seeing. And they saw this greater in me at least 6, 7 years ago. Now, this idea of so when it comes to be accepted as who you are, one of the things that we do here is ask ourselves the tough questions. Is who we are living as, is that our highest self? And then we also ask, is who we are living as, is that who we are supposed to be? Right. So when you ask about others want to steal others' personality, they do say that, what is it? Impersonation is the fondest form of the highest form of flattery, or something like that. So what you'll learn in this setting is we are more of glass half full people. So yeah, there are examples of people stealing, right? But one thing that I left out in my profession on what I do is I come from education. So I know that people have various ways of learning. Some people learn through visual, some people learn through auditory, some people learn through touch, right? But one thing that's consistent about however they learn is people need a model of behavior, a model of an example of the direction that they want to go. Something that we talked about before is relationships are reflective. And one way that they can reflect is the direction that you need to go. So sometimes people are aware that you are exhibiting something that they would like for themselves. And this is also where that idea of fake it till you make it comes in. So sometimes people, the only model that they have of how to be whatever that is what you are or what you have done. And people will mimic that at times. And it isn't always a sinister plan. But unfortunately, and one of the reasons why we are here is most of the people in this world are not moving under sinister plans. We just worry too much about the people who are. And you know how we talked about energy? If you are worrying so much about the thieves and the people who steal and those things, you are inadvertently creating an energy that's just like theirs. And it makes it easier for them to find you. So when it comes to that idea of people taking a personality, I would just tell you to continue living your greatness and take some of that as an honor. People are trying to honor you, and you just keep going forward. You know what I mean? So I think I don't know if that quite answered your question, but that is definitely a way, a perspective that you can look at it as. I'm not quite sure of that question because it sounds like you're asking about the idea of reincarnation. If you heard a kid say, "I've died before, I have given birth," um, that there's a whole culture of people who believe in reincarnation, and if you learn about their culture, it really is based on something. It's not just far fetched. And so much so that even in the United States, in our own scientific culture, we have studied things like astral projection. And astral projection is simply putting your current consciousness in a new space and time. So, and also on a lower level, In the black community, we have this saying when kids say stuff like this, or we see children who seem to be wise beyond their years. We say children like that have been here before. So there are a lot of cultures where the idea of having visited this place, this earth, in a physical form previously is not new or shocking. So for me, children say a lot of different things. And you have to understand they are probably the closest to the creator because they just came from the creator. You know what I mean? So they probably still have connections. You know, like they say babies, when they babies are staring off, they say babies are looking at angels. You know what I mean? So I don't like to rule out too much of it. I don't like to rule out too much of anything. And I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because you can't see, like I said, you can't see the Facebook comments. And someone who never comments but watches commented this time. But yeah, so I don't rule out the possibility. And one of the reasons why I don't rule out the possibility is because of what I just said about energy and the laws of thermodynamics. It's very few laws in science. So when I went to learn about religion and spirituality, I had to use it in tandem with science. Because one thing I know is the truth will be agreed upon. And there's plenty of places where spirituality and religion coincide and mesh with science. And the idea of energy is one. So remember, I said energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. You know what I mean? So it's possible that his energy, has been here in a different form. And um, I really am. I don't know if it's wise enough, but I definitely am aware enough to know that I'm not the person to say what would and won't happen, what the universe would and won't do, what God would and won't do, whatever you label it, whatever you call that energy around you. I'm not in the business of saying what it would, it won't do. If that makes sense. So I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. So Tatiana, I appreciate you finally coming. Tatiana comes on here and she never says nothing. So Liberty, I'm glad you gave her a shout out. Next time start tagging her so she'll come on the show. Cuzzo, I appreciate you showing up for a while. I know I still got to get back to you. I hadn't got in contact with my homeboy. Work's kind of crazy right now. But when I get to him, I promise you, I got you. I ain't forget about you. You my real live blood. So if I'm looking out for other people, I'm gonna do my part for you, cuz Cherry, you see, we finally got Tatiana to say something. See, Tatiana, I told you be welcome. Somebody to know you. The family is gentle. I don't know if that's your name on TikTok because it say BD5505. I mean, not TikTok, but on Twitch. But I definitely appreciate you taking time to join us today. The shows are usually an hour. Sometimes they go over an hour because we're doing energy readings. Energy readings generally take over an hour because I really try to provide the space for the people to get out everything they need to. And then outside of that, when it's just me, I try to be respectful of the people's time and just take an hour of your day. Because if you think enough of me to give me an hour of your time, then I can think enough of you to value that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, Keisha, tell her. I tried to tell her, man. She thought y'all was gonna bite. She be watching all the time, talking about people be commenting all the time, but she don't want to talk. I don't know. But I told her we safe. We're not gonna attack her. So, but hopefully you can join us every week because I do this generally every Tuesday. Or I make a post or something or I'm not going to do it. And then on Thursdays, we have a book club, which is still live on Twitch too. So you can catch that on Twitch or YouTube, on Facebook as well. We have book club. I don't know we what book we're gonna read this Thursday, but we almost at our hour. So I'm gonna wrap this up with the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I can figure out the rest of this stuff, and then we'll talk about book club, and I'll tell you my idea later. Doop, 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 doop. I really appreciate you this episode. Always, family. Love you, brother. Hold on. So, I think one of the wildest things that I've been dealing with this week has been something that I mentioned a little bit earlier to you all, is that idea of people being able to see greater in us than we actually see in ourselves at times. And it was ironic. Oh yeah, I do book club from my soul swami page, which is my Facebook business page. But if you follow Anthony Howe on Facebook, I generally share it on there. But you're a Twitch person, so it's on Twitch every week. Twitch is faithful. That's the only one that doesn't act up. Facebook will act up, YouTube will act up, but Twitch is on point every time. So we give Twitch love over here. Matter of fact, I say that one more time. They might need to pay me. But and I'm looking for my notes. Okay, there we go. So it was around this idea because we've been talking about what we want our rich life to look like and what we want our love life to look like. So we've been describing that. And we'll revisit that again later. The next thing that I want us to start thinking about in context of what we want our life to look like is, who do I need to be to get those things, right? And I think we talked about that a little bit last week because I talked about recognizing how I appreciate you. You know what? You probably the second person that told me within the last couple of days that I need to start writing something as well. So one thing that I do is when we're looking for signs and clarity and direction in our life, I think that's a good time where we need to remain aware to the patterns, repeated phrases, repeated signs, repeated stuff. So when something just keeps happening, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's a sign. So I definitely might need to start considering writing something. Now, what that will be, I don't know, because I don't like to write. But and maybe this is an example of what I'm about to talk about as far as so like I said, we start thinking about what type of person do we have to be to get this rich life that we want and get this love life that we want, because where it came from, it's going to require us to be more than who we are a lot of times, because if who we are was enough to be able to get those dreams, then we'd have them. So sometimes we have to add a few more tools in our toolbox to help us achieve those dreams. And I'll never forget one day, and it was wild because I guess I was in the mind state of just kind of thinking about myself. And oh my God. So I'm not laughing at you. I do not. Let me put it like this. I think before I would feel like I'm in a place to be able to honestly write about love, I would have to build my love muscles, in the sense that I would have to be confident enough that what I'm saying to people or what I'm putting out to the masses will actually help them. Now, it will never be the only tool, but it should be a tool. And one thing about me is one of the things we even talked about before. Um, I'm one of those people that learn through experience. So before I can tell you that my method um is a successful method, I have to actually achieve success through it. You know what I mean? And when it comes to certain things, I can be confident about as far as uh telling people like the healing process. I can be very confident about the healing process because there's levels to this. And I've done numerous times. So this is just like the fourth or fifth rendition of the healing process for me. And I've done love and a bunch of love things, and I definitely do give love advice. One of my consulting friends, she swears I am the love guru, and actually how the name Soul Swami actually comes about is from this idea of love guru, right? And because my friend Orlando, he wound up, he thinks I'm the love guru too. So he was like, I just the soul Swami. And the thing about that is I think and this is honest, I think before because we do a lot of community building here, and before we as a group can actually dive deeper in that love, I think that we do have to take these steps to heal ourselves, because the love that's a good idea. Healing of the heart is the love backstory. It is definitely step one, because a lot of times I think that's why we are where we are, especially in love. We've been going into love with unrecognized trauma and unrecognized need for healing. And sometimes it's not even an intentional thing. Like, some people don't want to heal and they're intentional. But we talked about it, sometimes in our life we blacked out things to be able to cope with the experiences of our lives. And we're just not aware. And sometimes we just need something to break that glass. As we talk back over the weeks, that I've had several incidents that have broken the proverbial glass and made things clearer. So sections of my spirit and my heart and my being that I did not even know need healing because I had blocked it out. So I think we are in a good space as far as working on healing ourselves so that we can be right and treat the love that we deserve the way it deserves. Kathleen, I appreciate you joining right now. I seen you join in. We've been having a good conversation going on, so I appreciate you stopping in for a second. But anyway, I was sitting minding my business, and I have a friend in Milwaukee. We've been friends for a long time now at this point, even though unfortunately it was mostly Facebook friends. But out the blue, she hold on, let me see. She sent me this picture. And this is a picture of David Ruffin. And if you don't know who that is, just look up Ain't Nobody Come to See You, Otis. And that pretty much describes David Ruffin. And when I saw this picture, I was like, yo, that's one of the dopest pictures. Next, this picture, and then my Instagram profile picture is Butterfly from the Diggable Planets. And he got two snakes on leashes. I think that's a cold picture. So I thought this is one of the coldest pictures I've seen. And she said, when I saw this picture, it made me think of you. And I sat there and I was like, girl, you think I'm David Ruffin cool? Lion King, I think it's given. I don't know if I say Lion King, but it's given confidence, it's given experience, it's given fearlessness. Like, come on, man. Come on. which was funny because that's why I was one of the topics that we were going to talk about. What we'll talk about next week is one of my greatest battles, or one of our greatest battles, is fear. So him sitting up there petting the lion, he just chilling. That's fearlessness. Then the color scheme, because I like bright colors. You know what I mean? I probably need to do some work to see what pink means in my life because I use that a lot. And I just did not see what she saw, but I love the picture and I respected that she saw that, and I received that she saw me. Um, ah, maybe she might mean that she sees me as protecting it. She can't. You know what? I thought I put the chat box on here, but it's not showing on this screen. But yeah, he definitely does look like he's the king of the line, like he's protecting him. So I give that to him. Hey, listen, they were smooth player, and they just had a different level of confidence, almost like they float through life. You know what I mean? And I do have confidence, and I float through life sometimes, but most of the time, I'm knocking doors down. You know what I mean? So I come through life like a punch. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I think as I transition to is more to a person that I see in this picture, in the sense that I want to flow through life a little bit more. Him, Rick James, pushing boundaries. And I always say Michael Jackson was one of my favorite people when I was a kid, but because he pushed boundaries too, as well as Prince, even though I might not push the same boundaries. But so she sent me this picture, and that was probably like 5 years. Oh shoot, like 5 years ago, right? And then so then probably maybe a couple of weeks ago, I posted this picture, and this was probably the first time I low key saw what she saw. Something in the essence of that picture is in the essence of all I need. I should have pulled that Martin and got me like two little stuffed lions. That'd have been extra gangster. So I probably should have did that. And there was something in this picture, in this pose, in this confidence that I first saw what she saw in that David Ruffin picture, from the glasses to the goatee to just the confidence in how I'm sitting, just posting it. Like I was like, okay. So now I see why she sent me that picture. And one of the reasons we have in this conversation is because, like I said, sometimes we don't have all the answers. And we don't always. CeeLo said in one song, if you want to learn about yourself, you got to ask someone else. And sometimes, which is why we do this healing as a group, because it's a communal thing, sometimes people will see something in us that we don't see in ourselves. And we have to get to a space in our lives where we can receive that, even if we're not in a space where we can believe that. We need to receive that and hold on to that as tightly as we can until we're at a space where we can believe that. And then we move on to the space where we live that. So that's pretty much it for this week's show. I appreciate you all. Baby, I move my head up on the sofa to be like that. You might be valid. That might be valid. Okay. So I am gonna start posting more pictures. Liberty Brown gets on my nerve. Well, I ain't gonna say she gets on my nerves about that, but she applies the motivational pressure between that, and she swears I have a good sense of fashion. So I need to post that a little bit more, but I'll try to do better. But I thank you for your time. Oh, so last thing is, I think about book club this week. What's the fill in the blank? Say that picture captures the essence of me perfectly. Say I don't gotta do much because it's just I am that what? Fill in the blank. Okay, so as far as book club, what I think I want to do is I think we got a lot of great suggestions. And it's ironic because I was thinking about where I wanted to. Thanks for joining in, Tatiana. See, you can have fun. Say, she put the ninja symbol. Say, I am that ninja. So what I want to do is because I appreciate this, because the first time we ain't get no suggestions. We got like a couple of suggestions, but this time we got a bunch of suggestions. So I feel like that's a sign that things are growing and more people are tuning in. So I do really want to respect everyone taking the time to offer a suggestion. So I'm going to read every book that was on there on that post, except, and I'm sorry, Kathy, except the kids' book. I'm not reading the children's book. I just told YouTube none of my videos are for children, but I might change that because some of them might be for children. But so the thing about it is, I don't know. I'm torn between because I looked up and we don't got Marlena tonight. So, and I'm about to talk about it too. So we're gonna have to tell Marlena we talked about it. But Marlena suggested The Alchemist. And as much as I talk about alchemy and The Alchemist, I never read that book. And I want to consider that. And then the other book that got a lot of traction, a lot of comments under that several people had already read and suggested was I think it was Before I Let Go. So I think tomorrow I'll make a post and or a poll, and we'll decide which one of those books we'll read first. And we'll just go down the list and read all the books that they all read because I appreciate you all. Really, really, really do. All right. So that's going to book club. Look for the poll tomorrow. Like I said, join us Thursday for book club if you can. I know, right? I mean, and you know why I think I probably hadn't read The Alchemist? Because I read the Celestine Prophecies. And it is similar to The Alchemist. I definitely do plan on reading Celestine Prophecies because it's about nine key insights of life. You know what I mean? And the funny thing, because I was thinking about making book club tie more into this, where we start reading a little more books about healing. Like we'll read a little bit of everything about fun, but I think we've read a couple of horror books, stuff about fun. But I do want to read fun experience books like this, so something like The Shack or things of that nature. So I'm gonna make a poll and we'll decide together as a family which one that we'll read first. Um, no, I appreciate you for giving me your time because you got a ton of people that you can watch on Twitch or anywhere, and I appreciate you taking time and asking questions. You a great person. You respectful. You respected the vibe that we got going on here, and I appreciate that. But like I said, if you can join us join us Thursday for book club or next Tuesday for some more live energy readings and more. I thank you all as always. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your comments, and I will see you Thursday. I knocked my water over. I hope y'all ain't hear that. Later, everybody. Thank you again. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.